How's it going, guys? My name is JP. 4 years ago, I created an Instagram page now known as Catholic Legion. Started off with a couple hundred followers. Now it has over 30,000 followers and counting. It's growing pretty fast. Now, over the past few months, a lot of people were asking me if I had a YouTube channel. No, I did not. I didn't think about it at all until I realized that there was a great need, and there is a great need, for faithful Catholic media. Mainstream Catholic news is just that, mainstream. It doesn't really want to cover, how should I say, the reality. The reality to the fact that the Catholic Church today is struggling like never before. That the reality that the majority of Catholics, baptized Catholics in the United States, for example, are walking the road to hell, right? Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about how there's a huge homosexual huge homosexual subculture amongst priests and the priesthood, which has invaded the Vatican even. Nobody wants to talk about prayer, sacrifice, discipline, courage. What everybody wants to talk about is being nice, being soft, being sweet, being tolerable, being everything but Christian, which is sad because 50 years ago, there were more practicing Christians than there are today, and it's a staggering. It's staggering because you would expect the Christian population to grow with obviously more people on this planet, but the exact opposite has occurred. Instead of more Christians, there are less, and that's due to several, actually so many factors that we're gonna get into on this YouTube channel. So let me warn you guys now. I am a pretty blunt dude. I do not sugarcoat. I quite honestly, and I say this with as much love as possible that human being can generate, I don't care about your feelings. I absolutely don't. What I care about is your salvation. I don't care about whether you find my content or the content I put up offensive or intolerant or bigoted or whatever term you want to use. I really quite honestly don't care. So, I'm just letting you guys know now. It's sad that truth, which was and it still is the foundation of Western civilization, most importantly, the foundation of Christianity, truth is no longer seen as the end goal. People are not striving for truth. People are not striving to know the objective. What people are chasing nowadays, even amongst Christians, is the subjective, the emotional, the stimulant, right? Whatever makes you feel good at the moment, not what's lasting. And it's sad. It's absolutely sad, and it's affected all the Catholic media. There are a few, of course, media organizations like Church Militant, 1 Peter 5, all those great, platforms, but the reality is those guys aren't the big boys. They are not, they are not reaching out, or I should say, they are not EWTN. And I'll have to say, EWTN is doing a fantastic job recently in covering the reality of the church. So is the National Catholic Reporter and all those two groups, Church Pop as well. But just overall, there really seems to be a lack of aggression. People used to understand that the Christian life is a life of warfare. You are fighting constantly against evil. You are fighting constantly against Satan and his cronies. Now we like to sit around and hug each other and tell everybody that you're going to go to heaven and that everything's just so great, because if you're just a good person, God's just going to love you. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. The church has never taught that. The church will never teach that. So before I'm clearly getting ahead of myself, but the whole entire purpose of this short video, home video, I guess you could say, is quite simple. And I'll highlight it right now who I am and what the goal of this channel is. So my name is JP. Of course, I said that before. I have no theological background. I am not in university. I'm actually in high school. But everything I know is self-taught. It's the majority self-taught. The other half is actually, thank God, I have found, great mentors a great Catholic priest, a great spiritual director, and a true friend, who will also be posting videos here occasionally. Not, you shouldn't get too used to them because they're pretty busy men. But nonetheless, I've been blessed with a great amount of resources, thanks most importantly to the internet, where I can access documents and church history and church teachings that quite honestly were not able to be accessed 30 years ago, right? And it's fantastic. And again, that's something else we're going to talk about to come in the near future. Now, the goal of this channel, like I said, is to provide the following: Catholic education. We're going to be posting, or I'm going to be posting videos on what the church teaches, what we actually believe as Catholics, right? Because sadly, most Catholics don't even know the seven sacraments. Most Catholics don't know how to say an Our Father, without help. In fact, if you ever go to a Novus Ordo Mass, an ordinary form Mass, a vernacular Mass, whatever you want to call it, whenever you go to the popular Mass and you sit and listen, you'll notice the majority of the majority of people in Mass don't even know the responses to the Mass, and that's the Mass. That's the most important thing ever. It's the most important thing. That's heaven on earth, and people don't realize that, or they just don't know that, and they're just there, but they don't realize that they're right there in front of God. It's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. And again, go to your typical Mass, and you'll hear people struggling to say the Nicene Creed. People struggling to say the Our Fathers. In fact, most people struggle with just the responses like, thanks be to God. It's ridiculous how far Catholic education has fallen. And I can't possibly fix it all. I just can't. Only God can. But what I can do through God's grace is just teach one soul at a time. And that's the entire purpose of this channel. One of the purposes of this channel, I should say. The second purpose is to defend. There are some of you know the faith or have the faith, but you are just surrounded by these wolves, by these people who just constantly attack the faith. Either they know or not that you're Catholic, but they just attack it either through the way they live their lives, either or the way they speak, or the stuff they say, like your college professor or your high school teacher, or just your family member. You just hear the most craziest things, right? And this is from Protestants, atheists, just everybody, every non-Catholic has something crazy to say, or even sadly, even today, you even have Catholics who are saying crazy stuff, right? So we're also here to defend the faith, right? We're also here to properly show you the glorious history of the Catholic Church, because quite frankly, so many Catholics have a self-hatred to their Catholic identity. And you should be happy. You should take great pride in the fact that it was the Catholic Church, it was Catholics who came into the New World, colonized it, and made it into what we see today. It is Catholic theology and Catholic teaching which formed the United States of America. St. Thomas Aquinas heavily influenced the Enlightenment and the way, the person is viewed still today. This is like just basic stuff that we take for granted, or you just don't know. And the third is to comment, or I should say provide commentary on events and news on either nationally or globally that affect the Catholic Church either indirectly or directly. I'll let you know right now, this is not a Marxist Catholic page. We are not liberation I'm not a liberation theologian. I absolutely despise communism, Marxism. You will not hear of Marxist vocabulary from my mouth. So you may hear it from the mouth of a priest or more, but you will not hear it from my mouth. And again, we'll do later videos to explain what the church teaches on socialism and communism and cultural Marxism, and why Catholics should be heavily entrenched against it, right? Trust me, we have so much to do in so little time.